Our life is like a single drop in the ocean. It pales in significance to the ocean itself. It leaves us at the point of submission where we're no longer in control of where it takes us. The ocean is majestic and sacred and beautiful, but it's often uncertain. We sometimes never fully understand what we've lived through or feel we've had enough time. Life doesn't always work out like we thought it would, does it? We expected to have the happily ever after that every couple expects, and quite quickly after getting back from our honeymoon, I'd undergone a few tests at the local hospital, and it was then that we got that phone call where the doctor said to us, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Null, but we don't think you're going to be able to have children of your own." What should have been such an exciting time of our life as newlyweds became a really deep and dark time for us. Although we'd been diagnosed with infertility, somehow miraculously after 4.5 years we found out we were pregnant, and I just remember falling to my knees in the bathroom and just sobbing. I was counting down the weeks till I was going on to maternity leave. We went into the nursery, assembled everything, and I remember sitting on my rocking chair and looking over to Gav while I was cradling my growing bump and smiling at him and thinking life couldn't get any more perfect than this. So it was just 12 hours later, I went to a routine appointment, had a chat with the midwife. I'd told her how I'd had reduced movement over the previous few weeks and how my midwife and various other professionals ushered me away telling me I was an anxious first-time mum. Even though I knew something felt not right, she whisked me straight into a side room. She put the heart Doppler on me, and it was as her eyes filled with tears, I knew I was going to get the news I had never even comprehended I was going to get. And they said, "We're sorry, Mrs. Null, but there's no heartbeat." So I knew I was going to have to do the bravest and hardest thing I'd ever had to do, is give birth to a child that wouldn't be alive at the end of it. We arrived at the hospital at about 9 AM. I remember right as the stage 3 labour hit, thinking, I've really got to do this now. I've really got to give birth to a child that will make no noise at the end, that won't come home with me. After he was born, I remember for a few moments just having to close my eyes and take a few deep breaths before I met him. And it was beautiful. So we spent a number of hours with him, just taking precious memories, photos, knowing that we'd never see his body again, knowing he was in a better place with Papa God, in a better world where there's no pain and no fear and all the suffering. He wasn't going to know. It was just our hearts would be broken because it was our dreams that were shattered, not his. And so that night as we went home, not holding a baby in our arms, but literally just holding each other's hands as we walked out of that ward into completely the unknown. And no one prepares you for what is going to happen in your life following walking out those doors without the child that you so longed for. Over the next 4 years, we really struggled with infertility again. So we decided to have IVF treatment, and it was a really gruelling process, but we were absolutely over the moon when it worked. And then unfortunately we found out we were miscarrying that baby, and it just all felt like it was all happening again. The months following, I had a massive breakdown. I know that mostly it was based on my confusion towards God. I have never known darkness and pain and misery like it. During the nights when I was struggling to sleep, I would often get up and write down my thoughts and feelings and things that were going on. And those words were then turned into a book, so I knew I needed to share it with others. And it was from there that I set up the charity called Little Fingers. Our hope at Little Fingers is that families know that they're not alone in the shadows and they haven't got to go through what they're going through on their own without support. We don't know what plan God has for our lives, but I've just learnt to trust Him. We still hope that one day it will all turn out okay and we'll have the children that we dream of. But if it doesn't, I'll still trust Him. Our life is so short and so fleeting, even shorter for my own children. We all have a dash between when we were born to when we die, and it's what we do during that dash that impacts not only our lives but the lives of people around us, and potentially far beyond that. Just before we went to commit Micah's ashes to the sea, my mum read a prayer, and in that prayer she said, "Go, sweetheart, go fly with the wind and swim in the sea to explore the four corners of the earth like your mummy and daddy wanted you to do." And my mum didn't realise how pivotal those words would be, because his story really would go to the four corners of the earth, as it has done up until this day and will continue on. When I sit at the beach, I look to a place far beyond the waves, to the place where Micah is now. It makes me just think that God's still there. He's got my children and He loves them and protects them. It gives me the hope that one day we'll be reunited once again. When the road ahead looks long and dark, keep heading to the dim light in the distance. Your life has purpose, but it's probably not quite what you'd thought. You will find it. Just keep searching.